Hello, my name's Carla Bang. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I'm coming to you from the bereavement department at Trustbridge, where I'm a bereavement counselor. I'm going to talk today about grieving during COVID. I have three main ideas I want to share with you. Starting out with recognizing the challenge. When you're grieving the death of someone very important to you, you're carrying an extra burden of care. It's as if you're burdened with a load that taxes you and challenges you to the limit of what you can manage. And grieving challenges you in every aspect of your being. Emotionally, as you deal with the feelings that come with grief, it can challenge you mentally, as you find it difficult to concentrate. Spiritually even, as you question beliefs that you've taken for granted, maybe for a very long time. It can also challenge you physically, in aches and pains, exhaustion, and it may challenge you in your behavior. You may find yourself doing things that don't seem characteristic of you or things that you wouldn't ordinarily do. This may well be the most difficult time in your life, or certainly it's right up there. There's a constant sense of uncertainty about the future. And while you're dealing with all of that, you're also in the middle of a global pandemic, which has come along and placed a similar challenge on every person in this planet. There's a constant sense of ongoing danger and uncertainty about the future, and it is so for everyone. That's good news and bad news. Good news because everyone is in the same boat. Bad news because usually when we're in a crisis, there's somebody we can call who can pat us on the head and say, there, it's okay out here. But right now, we're not so sure it's really okay anywhere. We humans like to have a sense of knowing what's ahead. And we tend to expect on a very fundamental level that what we have now, we will always have. And although we know on some level that everyone dies, we don't want to expect that it can happen to someone we love. And we almost are never ready for it. Our loved one has died, and we can't change that. Similarly, we didn't expect a global health emergency to come along and challenge our world on every level. Nor do we welcome it, but it's there, and we can't change that either. Managing our grief while managing our response to the COVID-19 threat feels like too much. And it is too much if we allow ourselves to spend too much time imagining the worst that can happen. All of the frightening things that we tend to imagine for the future have not come to pass. And in fact, the vast majority of them never will. So we must not allow ourselves to be lost in the fear about the future. Do you know it takes the same time and energy to imagine something wonderful as to worry? And the outcome for us is very different. So if you found yourself caught up in anxiety about the future, stop yourself and balance those anxious thoughts about what you may lose with grateful thoughts about what you have. Maybe it's a roof over your head. Maybe it's someone who cares about you or needs you. Maybe it's having enough food to eat. Challenge yourself to come back to the present. You cannot control what may happen down the road. You can look at what you know is coming and do everything you can to prepare for that. You can follow the guidelines of those who understand this pandemic the best, and you must do that. Beyond these things, you must let go of the fears about the future and focus on what you can manage in this moment. Another point is reach out to help others. Know that while you're isolated and sad, many others are feeling the same way. This is a time to reach out to people you care about and offer them some contact or comfort. Maybe they aren't experiencing the grief you are, but they are certainly lost in this pandemic as you are. And people tend to be waiting for others to reach out. Often when people are grieving, they're reluctant to reach out to others for fear that they'll put the other person in an awkward position, not knowing what to say. Try not to let that daunt you. Other people need to hear from you as much as you need to hear from them. Making someone else feel better will also make you feel better, and that's very important right now, especially because it reminds you that you have a role to play and that there is a place for you in this world. Be kind to yourself and celebrate what you accomplish. You're in a time in your life when you cannot accomplish many of the things you would usually expect to be able to accomplish because you're disabled by grief and limited in what you can actually do safely in this pandemic. You must adjust your expectations to match the limitations placed on you. Be sure to celebrate the small things that you accomplish, and don't demand too much of yourself. Be patient. You will not be able to do everything at once. I often tell my grieving clients to expect about half productivity of themselves. This goes back to the numerous aspects of ourselves in which grieving affects us. I don't even know a fraction to apply to this compounded situation of grieving with COVID. I'm thinking of a quote from Martin Luther King Jr. He said, "Take the first step in faith. You don't have to see the whole staircase. Just take the first step." As a bereavement counselor in this time of COVID-19, I would also add that if you need to take a break when you take that first step, turn around and sit on the next step until you're ready to go on. And while you're sitting on that next step, looking back, don't forget to notice all the things that you've accomplished, all the things you've adjusted to, and all the ways in which you have adapted already. There's no right way to do this. No one has ever had to do exactly what you are having to do right now. So trust yourself. Give yourself some credit and have compassion for yourself. If you're struggling with grief and would like some assistance, call the Trustbridge Bereavement Department at 561-227-5175. We're here to help. We have a full staff of professional counselors waiting to help you, all at no cost to you. Your life, our passion. Thank you.